Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of, we've got a lot of projects to work on. And two of them, or at least one of them, we can't really tackle because we're in the middle of a bad tide, which really stinks. But it's okay. We have plenty of other things to occupy our time, like setting up a power system. We can't be solely reliant on these engines for the next foreseeable future, because that's a lot of lumber to be using. That's a lot of water to be using, which is going to be painful for us to deal with. But we do have the capacity to come over here and do something with all of this bad water that's coming out of this bad water source right there. Now, it's not going to provide us the most amount of juice, but it will provide us a fair amount, and we can even tackle or take advantage of some of this over here. We've got plenty of things to play with, and of course we've got this over here that I still need to run power to, which I haven't run power yet over to here yet, but that's fine. We'll get to that eventually. So what I'm thinking is simple enough. We'll come in here, we'll blast out a nice line. We'll make it 5 wide. We'll make it, we'll have 2 rows on either side. So I'll try to show this in something that makes sense. Now, this is theoretically the best way to go about doing this. This provides the most amount of power potential. So we'll need to have something kind of like that, and then we'll put in our large water wheels, and they'll sit like this. We'll go ahead and burn the signs and do that. So 5 wide, that's what I'm going for. We'll run the power, or run the large water wheels through this channel like that. Now, the problem is those consume a lot of planks and a lot of logs, so we have to also take that into consideration when we start thinking about this massive build that I'm thinking about doing. But what we can do is we can prep the battle space, and by that I mean we can start terraforming a little bit in order to accomplish our end goal. And now I'm not sure how far I want to take this. I want to cut into here, and I want to run this over here, and then probably punt it off to this side, just so we can reclaim some of this land, because this is a lot of red real estate, if you will. Not good for us because it's well covered in poo water, and it makes the ground all not good for the lumber production and or food production, which is one of the things that we want to get to today as well. That being said, I was scoping out an area. This area over here is pretty clean, pretty easy to get into, so we'll probably come over here, somehow get our beavers across here and then back into this area so that we can actually get some more real estate or some more lumber going. And then we'll probably do some more lumber down here. So that probably entails tearing out this medium tank and throwing in a couple of throwing in a forester here, since this is no longer needed, since we have a fair amount of water over there. Now, I might leave these 2 in just because there is potential for this to dry out, which could happen when we're talking the 30+ days or 30-day droughts. Now, this did fill up actually to the top during our last temperate cycle, so that is good for us to know. And I was looking at this. I don't have an escape path for that water. If it does get to this height, it's just gonna flow out over there, and that's gonna be a bad day for us. So we are gonna have to get in here, blast this down, and put in a couple dams so that when it does reach that height, we do have an escape route for it, and it doesn't flood our entire foodstuffs down here. All right, that all being said, let's go ahead and we'll start with the easy thing. We'll go ahead and rip that out, and we're going to throw in our forester right here, and that should cover down the portion of the pond here for our mangroves that we couldn't get to. And also allow us to plant a little bit more up here. Okay, maybe not that orientation. Maybe we flip this like that. Yes, there we go. So we can cover down this backside, and then this side can cover down this side. And we'll have plenty of real estate to replant all of our some trees back in here. And we'll probably think about adding additional foodstuffs somewhere else I'm not sure where that somewhere else is quite yet, but I feel like we're doing okay-ish. Probably need to expand our production line as far as food is concerned. And I did think about something. These consume power even though they're not being used. So we're going to pause those because that's 500 units of power that doesn't need to be burned right there. And that should rectify a portion of our power issue here. So let's go ahead and get the 3x speed up and running. We'll get them rocking and rolling. That'll be good for them. And another project that I wanted to get to is coming down here and clean some of this up. It just does not look nice. And we have the explosives to come in here and actually start blasting some of this out so we can have a nice deep reservoir down here and hopefully be able to save up a little bit more water in the long haul. And if we do get another aquifer tapped and feeding into there, that would be very beneficial. Now the question is, where is another aquifer? We do have one down here that could feed into this, or over here we've got one here, but that's quite a ways to get that fed over. We could do like an aqueduct that goes up and over all of the things, but I feel like that's a tad bit excessive and quite a pain in the butt, so I don't think we're going to get into that. Anyway, let's go ahead and start working our way over here somehow. Probably is going to look a little something like this. Come on, game. Stop fighting me this early in the morning. There's no need for that. Go ahead and get that in there. Get that there. Come on across. And then up. And then down on the other side. Like such as. Hey, apparently I don't know how to click buttons this morning, but that's fine. Don't worry about that, you know. Need one more on this side, get us another set of stairs, another set of stairs right there, and then that puts us down at the level that we want to be at. Now we want to ford this Poo River, like so. That puts us in a decent position to tackle this side over here, start tearing this out, and that'll be good. Let's go ahead and we'll get up here. I feel like the easiest way to tackle this is just to blast all this down. And we're going to have to station a fair amount of explosives on this side. We'll just go ahead and put that in like that. We're going to need a lot of lumber. And by a lot, I mean a lot of lumber. This is probably a tad bit ridiculous, but it's okay. And wrap this around like such as. That brings us up to there, and then we just toss this in right here, and then we come around to the front side, and we do the same deal. It puts us in a pretty good spot. Now we just need to put our stairs in. This is probably not the most optimal use of our lumber and everything, but this will provide us a fair amount of storage for our logs and our planks, which we're going to need a lot of for our large water wheels. Because that is 70 logs, 80 planks. That's a lot to play with. That's a lot to work with. And we're going to need to start stockpiling that sooner rather than later. So let's go ahead and get down here. Get that all set up. We'll go ahead and rip them across the Poo Water Ford. Get them working on that a little bit. And that will give them something to work towards. Now, something that we can work on this side. Go ahead and drop this layer down. I want to start ripping this out. And the reason I want to do this is because this is a lot of potential water storage that I would like to get into. And I can't do it because I didn't blast this out earlier. So that means there's a lot of potential water storage in here that we can't really touch. Because duh. Because we'd have to tear out all of these all of the platforms, and I don't want to tear out the platforms because that's where all of our water's coming in, so on and so forth. You get what I'm saying here, hopefully. Now let's go ahead and pull it down one more, another one more, and that means that we can do this right here, and we can go ahead and work on this and work on that and work on that. Now, some of those places they can get to just because they're reaching through the platforms. Some other places we're going to have to just get them down there, which shouldn't be that big of an ask. Hopefully, maybe. I don't know. We'll let them work on that a little bit while they're also working their way down here. Okay, so that is good. This is in. You should be helping with planting all of that. You did help with the planting of all that, so we can start thinking about planting more stuff. Now, do want to start carrying this guy out here, and actually let's help out just a tad bit with log storage on this end. Maybe a tad bit. Go logs here and logs here, and these can be supply depots. Can you not reach all that? You can reach all that. Why haven't you tackled all that? Interesting. I also want this to pop so I can tear this guy out and move him over so I can put in the tapper shack so we can actually tackle all of this pine here, which reminds me I don't have storage for pine resin and or for our sparkly planks. So we've got to get that rectified. Sooner rather than later. But then the question then becomes, how do we get that rectified? How do I want to tackle that? Also, I'm realizing that we are running low on beavers, and we're also running low on scrap metal. We did come over here and get access to all this, so that is good. We do have scrap metal available to us when and if we need to do so. And I also want to somehow get over here. Probably means ripping out these guys right here. Let's just get that ripped out right there. And we'll tear out this gatherer flag and put them on this side. Then we can just run across and down, hopefully, and then up on this side, and then down here. And we can do something kind of like this. Theoretically, a single water dump should be able to cover down a fair portion of this area. And this area being filled in should provide us with a fair amount of irrigation for a bit. Let's go ahead and tear that out. I want to get this over the water. We can save as much real estate as possible. I am doing this all sorts backwards. Don't mind me. Do that like that. There we go. Let's do that. Put in another forester right here. Do I want a forester or do I want something else? I think forester's good for now. Then we can even come over here. Put another forester in. Yeah, we want this actually like that so you can get across on top of the levees there, which is a good thing. And that covers down all of that to that backside. You cover down all of it to almost all of this. Don't think irrigation is going to reach as far back as that, but that should be good. I do want to give this a priority bump. And then hopefully we can get that built, and then they can tear those berries out of there before we start ripping these berries out, which would be quite nice. Bueller. All right, there we go. Now we can come in and give this a priority. Have that ripped out. That'll be good. lot of coffee beans right there. I need storage for coffee beans, and I also need storage for coffee. That is something to be concerned about. I did not tell them what to put into here. That is on me. Your explosives. And all of that needs to be something else. I do want storage here for extract. And we will drop this priority-wise because that will consume a lot of their time and efforts that could be saved elsewhere. And we will bump this up priority-wise just because there's a need for more log storage on this side. Maybe I can convert this all into... No, I need the berries, otherwise we're going to lose out on a lot of things. Why have we not ripped this out yet? Alright. Okay, it really takes them a year and a half to rip out some of the some of these things, which is mildly obnoxious. Okay, that goes across to there, that goes there. That should work, and if we want just a little bit more in the mangrove variety, we can go ahead and toss that in there. Because why not? Mangroves are nice. Mangroves feed our beavers, and I need to put in oak back here. You are oak. You are also oak. We'll do oak for all of my friends over here. These guys don't have any food-bearing trees other than the mangroves, so we don't have to be concerned about putting in any of the chestnut trees. And this is going to take a hot minute for all this to actually pop and be useful for us, but it is still going to be beneficial in the long haul. These are they have reached maturity, but it's going to be another 10 days before we can get more mangroves out of them. This will explode our mangrove supplies, which would be quite nice, but I don't have a place to store said mangroves. So let's go ahead and get that rectified. That's going to look like that. We are going to toss this in right here, and then a triple right there. And then we need to also rotate this around to there because this is too high now. That goes like that. Then we could toss in 2 more large warehouses, 4 more large warehouses, put in our path up top, bada bing, bada boom, and tell you to be mangrove fruits. We'll tell you to be berries, I guess. Tell you to be... We haven't gotten into that system. Doing fairly good on all that. Maybe we store gears up here. Sure, why not? And then pine resin, because we haven't been storing any pine resin. That'll be something for them to work towards. That'll be a little bit of time. I do want to give this a priority bump over any other projects that are going on. That'll be nice. And maybe we could start thinking about, again, two-way stations, but that still requires so much in the way of metal. Our metal production is stemmed or slowed by our lack of access to scrap metal and how long it takes to produce, which is tied to the fact that we only have one smelter going, which is then in turn tied to the fact that we don't have many beavers to actually fill all those positions. There's the compounding issue associated with all of that. So we're going to have to get that rectified at some point, some way or another. We could go ahead and also fill in all of these spots down here. Fill all this in. Now, I do think that we probably need to put in something to help alleviate this poo water problem that we have from this, and that should be relatively simple. We can probably save a lot of that by just putting in irrigation barriers along this side. And that should help with all of that. We could put that up here, but I don't think that that's entirely necessary. Still need to actually put in some additional storage too for logs, planks, logs. I need storage for our sparkly planks because we're going to need a lot of those. That is going to be sparkly planks and sparkly planks. Sure. Beautiful. That'll be decent enough for now. It's not going to be the greatest use of our materials, but it will do the job. Industry, industry, industry. How are we going to tackle the industry problem? I don't know. Well, power tackles the industry problem, right? Like, power is our limiting factor. I don't want to keep building steam engines because that consumes a lot of our beaver capacity, or our lumber, right? Our lumber gets hit pretty hard with that, and then it causes other issues, and so on and so forth. And it's such a mess, actually. Okay, we do need to actually plus up our beaver production line. That is going to need to be a requirement. Also, why are all our haulers are currently all occupied doing other things? Go into housing, breeding pods, advanced breeding pods. We'll put in 2. No, not right there. 2. Maybe we rip these out and put it in large houses, maybe? These hold 8. Okay, let's see here. That's moved over. We need to get this prioritized and obtained. We should hit the obtain button for all these 2. It's not going to really do anything for us because it's not priority. We could probably pause a few of these positions just because water is doing so good for now, and get some more haulers up and about and moving about the cabin. Yeah, our haulers are not really doing the greatest as far as moving enough water. Why are we filling this up? That's supply. These are all supplies. This is also supply. I guess that's what's happening there. That's fine. How much of this do they get tackled? Probably not nearly as much as I would like, but we can go ahead and get them access down here. That doesn't. Well, it does. It doesn't, but it does. So many choices. So much ridiculousness. It's fine. Everything's okay. Just go ahead and get down here just because we have the capacity to do so. We can start working our way through some of that. We still have 5 days left, and we've only burned through a tile and a half of our water in here. So this storage down here is pretty legit. Now, we are going to have to turn our aquifer drills back on here in a couple of days just so that they're already primed by the haulers, which would be good. All right, explosives have made their way over here. They've basically brought all of the explosives over here, which is all right. And then maybe we bring this back up to a normal priority and we can start working our way through all of that. They have started doing all of this over here too, so it is good to see. You love to see it. And we might put in a small warehouse or a small tank here just so our guy doesn't have to run halfway across the world. We will hit the obtain button and prioritize on that one, though I hate doing that. Anyway, cool. That's all in. We can put in more oak throughout here. We need to actually tell them that these positions are occupied by that. You don't need to be there, actually. I want you there so we can actually get onto this side. Maybe we even do something along these lines. Does that cover that area back there? Yes. And we do one more just for posterity's sake. Okay, you go there, you go there. Cover this down like such as. You are water. You are obtain, prioritize. Give you a priority bump. And we'll go ahead and give that a priority bump there as well. They're already planting away, so that is good to see. And we'll go ahead and fill in the rest of this area back here. Give me all of the trees, please, and thank you. That's a good amount of lumber, theoretically. Now, it's going to take 1.5 years for any of that to actually reach maturity, but, you know, we're working on it. That's all that matters. Cool, explosives are going in, though, so we will get this torn out. We can go ahead and probably toss in one more explosive right there and a couple more right here, since they have access to that, and we can get that primed for other stuff. You have nothing to do within range, and it'll be the same thing for you. We will, however, mark all this for cutting. Make sure that's all marked for cutting as well. And do the same back here. Make sure that's all green. That's all green. Okay, good. A little bit more there. Sweet. That irrigated a fair amount, so that means that we can actually come out a little bit further on this side, so that'd be grand. And we can even push down here a little bit, but I'm not too concerned with that, with getting down into there. We can fill this out a lot bit more, and we're probably going to need a few more lumberjack flags in here now that I'm seeing this problem that I've created for myself. So let's go ahead and rip this out right here and give ourselves something to work with right there, and probably just do a third one just for giggles. We'll give this a priority just so that they can get over here and knock that out. Hopefully that doesn't take them 1.5 years to get that accomplished for us. And honestly, 3 of those is probably excessive. We can put in a teeth grindstone just to make their lives a little bit easier, and then someday we'll get the problem solved as far as our scrap metal, so that we can get metal blocks moving a little bit faster. But today is not the day, because we still need power running and yada yada blah blah blah. Go ahead and get that turned back on. We'll do the same thing over here, so we can prime that good water for the future, and then that will be glorious. Can you guys hurry with that? That'd be awesome. That'd be huge. We do want to do 3 of those. Okay, so we've got these 3, 6 going. Do we need that? I'll leave that there. That'll be good. Put a pathway into here. That'll get built eventually. And we'll have to come back in and pause those positions here soon-ish. All right. How is this coming along? Did they build these guys yet? No, they have not. We need these built now. And with that, we also need to actually expand our beaver housing because we don't have that. Yes. There we go. Give those two a priority bump. Going to give us another 16 places to live, and we just added an additional 20 beavers to the whole system. That should be fine. Hopefully. Should be. Yes. Should be fine. Okay. That's the end of our tide. Now, all of this gets cleared out. All of this cycles over appropriately. This is already cycled over as well. All the poo water is getting pushed out to that side. That is going amazingly well. I love to see it. This is all ready to go. We will give this a bump. I don't think that they're really building anything else other than these things over here, which should not take nearly as long. It's just lumber. Throwing that in. Is there a way for me to get down here to make their transit a little less painful? I don't think so. Really don't think so. All right. How are we doing on all this? Logs still haven't made their way over here. Same with the planks or the gears. Or not gears. We don't have gears. We don't need gears. Do we need gears? These don't require gears. They don't. These do, but we shouldn't be moving that around that much. That should be fine. Do you want to run power from here over here, and then that's going to feed into this system? Okay. Okay, that's all in. Great. Get this ripped out. Start blasting this out. We can tear out these stairs. Do the same there. Blast this down right here. And then we can come over here and actually get somebody in to rip out these trees. Probably just be faster to get somebody in to cut them or tear them out. But it's free. It's free real estate. Free lumber. Who's going to complain about free lumber? Okay. So what we're going to do is blast out our corridors so we can save a little bit of our lumber. And then we'll backfill. Hello? That was weird. Backfill all of that with or we could, do we break into, that's a good question. Do we break into dirt? Do we want to do dirt? Do we have the power for dirt? Do we have the power for dirt? We have-ish the power for dirt. We have the power for dirt over here, right? How much does this require? Dirt, 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 dirt. 200? We could run... Hold up. Yeah, we could just, instead of running... That's a heinous walk for these guys to get over here. We could fix that with our... We could fix that. We could fix that. We can fix that. We have the technology. We have the technology. We have the means. We have the know-how. We have the smarts, allegedly. Does that take priority over this? I don't know if it does. Power, that turns into metal, but we want to burn lumber to do this. That's because that's a lot of lumber to get that up and running, and I feel like that's going to be a huge ask. Like a very massive ask. We should probably turn on our water pumpers again because we're already back down below 5K. That's not good. We could probably pause you two real quick. And then we'll be down to just 10 haulers. We'll turn all those back on. We have 4 injuries. That's probably where we're losing a fair portion of our workers, obviously. They've already built a lot of this, though. That probably explains why some of the other gigs haven't been getting accomplished nearly as quickly as I would like. All of this is popped, though, so that is good. So we need to get somebody in there to take care of that. Then we can rip that out. We can rely on 1 as our emergency stash. That should be good enough. Okay. You are soybeans right here, right? Yeah. You're kohlrabi. Clean up that little line. All right. So mangrove fruit should be coming in a lot better now. That is waiting on a few more logs and a few more planks. Then we'll have plenty of storage for all of the foodstuffs. Food production line probably could do with some help. These guys are... Yeah, I feel like this is probably for the best to just go ahead and rip that Band-Aid out. Or rip that Band-Aid off. Start running our 2-way stations. That requires explosives, planks, and extract. Which is fine. We have that. We have that. Okay, let's do it. Let's go 3 deep here. And then we'll go... We have a drought. Oh, it's a max temperate cycle, though. I forgot that I needed to fix this. Uh-oh. But do I need to fix it? We just turn these off. Because this is full. I could just pause them. Right? Let's pull this up. Let's fill this in. Once that's full, we can pause this guy. It's going to stop running here shortly anyway because it's out of... Well, never mind. Never mind. They made me out to be a liar. Okay. We'll let that run for now because I still haven't fixed this yet. We'll have to come over here and fix our water solution or water problem here. So let's go ahead... Game, I swear, you fighting me like this is not good for my health. Alright. Gonna have to go all the way across like that. We need to get across there. We'll save a little bit by not building a bunch of planks. Or platforms. That connects there, that connects there, that goes there, that goes across there. Yeah, that should be fine. Theoretically. Okay. Beaver population is exploding a tad bit. That is good. We are backfilling a lot of the positions. We still have 3 injuries, but those guys are getting fixed up, which is good. I do want to start tackling that, and also we can start... We could start this process a little bit. Now, we won't be able to blast anything off. We want to run this all the way down to there. And we'll have 1 line there. Then that runs all the way through here. We could, you know what? That's a smarter idea. I like my smarter idea. Why didn't I just think about that in the first place? Let's just make this 2 deep. Duh. Make it 2 deep. And we don't have to be concerned about a poop ton of lumber. Because we have already a 2 deep situation. I don't know why I didn't think about that in the first place. Now we will have to come in and block some of this off. We will have to get up here to blast this out, which is fine. Go ahead and run that way, run this that way. This brings us up here. Now the question is, do I just keep ripping out this way, or do I go and punt it off to there? I don't know the answer to that question. I also need to get over here and put some levees into this action here. Like that. Right? It does need to be 2 deep. I'm not losing my mind. The wrong button. That's the right button. Yeah, it needs to be 2 deep. Yeah. There we go. They built this. Good. How deep does that take us? Oh. Yeah, see, that's what I figured was going to happen. Oops. Why are they working on that down there? That should be really low priority. Well, whatever. 27 day. Okay. Yep, I should have fixed this, but I did not fix it, so that's on me. That's entirely on me. I accept full responsibility for my actions. These guys are going to pump their hearts out. I don't know why I even saved water in there. I don't know. It's fine. It's okay. It's a good use of our stuff, I guess. How are they doing on all that? They get all of that blasted out? It looks like they did. We can just rip that out. And we can start just blasting the rest of that out to have more storage capacity in there. That'll be good. It'll be nice. Okay. They built this yet. They can't reach that. Interesting. Okay. And they can't reach that either. If we give them this path over, they can reach that. And I'm distracting myself right now because I don't want to think about the problem that I've just created for myself on the other side. So pardon me while I get distracted by other small project that's not really a priority, but is kind of a nice thing to have. We can pause you two because everything's planted right now, and it's going to take a hot minute for everything to actually mature. Anyway, yeah, that's another 15 days for all that. This is all planted over here as well, so we can probably pause you guys. Another millennia and a half. Yeah, that's a millennia and a half to get all that done. Cool. All right. This is what I didn't want to start thinking about. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because those have to be on the ground. Huh. Okay. I want to go down 1 here. Then I want to... Do I want to go down one? Yeah, one's probably the easiest. Then we do a tunnel from there. We run the tunnel back and underneath here to there. They probably can't reach that. It says they can reach that somehow. Yeah, they can go around here. Okay, cool. And then we run this. Let's pull this up. Give ourselves something to work towards. I think if we put a triple in right there, hit this pause button, rip this down. Probably not down that far. That is one too deep. Okay, so that's where we need to go. So that looks something like that. Right? And that. Yeah, I think that's right. Or we can do something like this. Rip that down a little bit more. One more up. Put that right there. So that's one layer, 2 layers. So that's just one more deep, right? And we'll put a double in there. If we overshoot it, we overshoot it. If we don't, that's fine. That's acceptable. We do have 2 spare beavers, so that's cool. We can get them in here, pumping more water. That'll be grand. Good. That turn back on. They've started planting a few of these dynamite. That's good. They started planting a little bit of this dynamite as well. So that is awesome. Just make sure I haven't paused dynamite production. I have not. Good. Good. Okay. This is good. All right, let's take stock. Food is looking decent. We've got a lot of fermented cassavas and fermented soybeans. It helps that we have a bunch of those or 3 fermenters running those right now. Probably need to get some more in the way of corn rations and eggplant production. But that's a power draw, which we can probably fit a few more in here. I want to... Yeah, do we... I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I do want to get this done. So let's get this done. Get this done. That done. It'll be something good with their time to work towards, and they'll slowly work on this. They are slowly working on this as well, and probably help them out a little bit with the small warehouse for storage. How bad is this? That's 98. This is 153. It takes them 5,000 years to get over there. Honestly, I can't be bothered to try to rectify that for them, just because this should be a one-time run over here. Hopefully, maybe. Okay. And so we need to blast this out here. No Bunu incidences, so that's good. Then we put these stairs in right there. We wrap this in like such as, and then we run these that way. We rip this down. That lets us see into here. Then we can probably unpause this and give this a priority 2 just to get that knocked out of the way. Hopefully that's not too deep. We'll not blast it until we get something else or get the rest of the things in here. That does need to be a priority there, though. I do like the fact that you can actually... You can tunnel under buildings and such. It makes life so much easier. It makes life so much easier. Okay, that was a double explosion. I love it. Cool. So now they're going to build that in. They're going to rip that across there. That's going to get us up to here. That guy is almost done. It'll be glorious. Huh. Lumber's kind of holding strong. Plank production is kind of holding strong as well. Good. Good. Probably expand said production though. Or storage. Storage is always going to be a point of contention for all these things. Let's just do something ridiculous, shall we? So, here, we're going to do logs. We're going to hit the obtain button. We're going to hit this copy button, and we're going to copy these down there, right? This side will be planks. Supply. Yes, and then we're going to copy that down here. And that should all be correct. Awesome. And then we do something a tad bit ridiculous. We do... something like that, maybe? I don't know. I don't know. Here we go here. We do this here, and then we do this here. And then we do this here. No, that's not what we want to do there. I know. I'm trying to figure out the most optimal way to actually use these spiral staircases. And I don't think that this is the most optimal way to use these spiral staircases. Which is irking me to no end. Yeah. I don't really want to do that. Just want to go up to there. Then we do this. Sure. This is very not beautiful. Okay, I understand that. Do a triple here, I guess. It could be nicer. I know. Oh, that's right. Why can't you can F? F. Okay. F. F is a good thing. F is a good thing. Okay. I'm glad that I found that button. Okay. So that goes there. This goes here. That goes there. Then we go like that. And then we go path here. This is so ridiculous. F. Okay, and then path there to there, and then this goes double here, and then we do this up like that, and then we do double here, right? Yes. Okay, this is a tad bit insane and probably not the most optimal use of our real estate. But I'm going to finish this up real quick. I'll be right back. All right. It works. It's not pretty, but it works. How are they doing back here? They got decently far. Come on, guys. What are we working on elsewhere? You guys are probably working on this over here. Yep. Which is fine, but I want to move production a little bit faster. We can get productivity up higher, then that means we can get all of the foodstuffs being running a little bit easier. In the grand scheme of things, it'll be glorious to have. That should green up a lot of this over here very nicely, and that's kind of what I'm trying to get to happen, because right now we're at 97 path length or distance to travel, and we honestly want to get over here and do the same thing with all of this. I don't necessarily know how we're going to run that other than just running a bunch of tunnels over here, which isn't a bad idea. We just need production to go a little bit harder than it is currently. And this solves a little bit of that production issue for us, theoretically. How is this all coming along over here? We're still another 10 days out for all that. Same thing over there. You guys are bored. Surprised they actually built that by now, but they did. That's fine. This is all in, so we can blast this out now. Means we have an escape. Means we can come in over here. Actually put this in. So we don't run into that issue again. Hopefully. Theoretically, that should rectify that issue for us. This does not need to be a priority anymore. Doesn't need to be where the explosives are anymore either. So that is good. This is all starting to pop up now. So we can get a couple more beavers into those positions. And now we probably need to start thinking about getting somebody to help tear this out over here as well. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe even think about expanding our water production system. That might be a good use of our time. Maybe. How are we doing in here? Already almost there. I love it. It's one of my biggest gripes, I guess, about is these tunnels. It just takes so long to get all of this going. Wait a second. Okay, yep, that's the right height. Good. Theoretically, they could come over here and probably place that one. They already have. Sweet. Alright, 4 beavers with nothing to do with their hands. That means that we can turn the extract back on. That's already dipped back to about 1,000, so that's not the greatest. This is all about to pop, so we do... I think we can get rid of this guy. Without too much consternation. We will give this a max priority, get somebody over here to build that. Otherwise, it's going to take 6 to 9 years to get that done. I am so happy with how well this turned out. I know we had a little bit of an uh-oh when we did build it and put it in, but you know what? It's doing its job now, and this is all beautiful. Never again will we have the poo water in here. Yeah, a lot of you guys want me to come in here and dump water into this. I feel like that's just a waste of water. Like, I don't need to. I have irrigation barriers. So all this is green now. I don't have to dump water into this system. Waste water, you know, that life juice. We don't need to be wasting our life juices on that. So I am quite happy with all of that, actually. So Let us see here. How is this coming along? They blasted that out. We can rip this out because that doesn't need to be there anymore. And then we can rip this down and see how this is coming along. It is coming along brilliantly at that. Okay. And our spare beavers, while they're doing spare beaver things, can build the vertical tubeways down in here. Like such as. We can unlock this tubeway station. Put that in right there. And we can actually go ahead and... No, we can't, because then we'll block access to the tunnel that they're building, which they've only got 4 more tunnel pieces to go, so that is good. That's fine. Once they get these last 4 ripped out, then it's just a matter of connecting the 2, and that'll be beautiful. You have all this marked for cutting, right? I do not. Ooh. Now we do. All right, that will be a nice boon in our lumber production side of the house. Kind of want to drop this priority-wise because that is consuming a lot of our beavers' time, but this is fine. They're tackling this as they can, and then yeah. I do want to give this a priority bump though. I do want this all to be built, and I also know that if I put that on, well, no, they should be able to build down, but I'm just gonna, do this because I've been burned in the past by not having all of these segments appropriately prioritized. So that should work theoretically. They can't technically build the top piece until the bottom pieces are built, so I shouldn't need to be concerned about that, but beavers do beaver things, and they do ridiculous beaver things, so let's just be cognizant of silly beaver things doing silly beaver things. We are consuming a lot of water, though. I'm realizing we haven't moved past 5.5 in a minute, which is not good. And I just realized what time it is. Holy Toledo. All right. So what I'm going to do is we're going to finish up the rest of this tunnel here. We're going to get this built, and we'll catch you all on the flip side. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please hit that like button. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button either or as well. I would appreciate that. We're so close to the mythical 1000. I can smell it, guys. I can smell it. It's right there. It smells delicious, and you can help along with that process. You guys are amazing. All right, guys. I do appreciate you all wherever you're in the world. Make sure you guys stay nice and healthy, nice and thirsty, nice and hydrated. Make sure your beaver's nice and moist as well. We'll catch you all on the next episode of I Don't Know What to Do with My Hands. And I'm making terrible life choices. We'll catch you all later. I'm out. See ya.